It is an honor to be here tonight with all of you. It's a privilege to be an alumni representative of this incredible group. As a Stanford law student, I was determined that I was going to make the world a safer place by becoming a prosecuting attorney and put people behind jail. And then I volunteered in juvenile hall, and I met 15, 16, and 17-year-olds who were looking at 10, 20, and some life in prison for the choices that they had made. Over and over again, their statements to me would start with, if only I had known how much trouble I could get into. If only someone had cared about me, I wouldn't be here. And I heard how they grew up in communities where they saw their friends, their cousins, their parents, even their grandparents in and out of jail, making it seem like a rite of passage. So I wasn't surprised when the research showed that for incarcerated kids, over 80% say they don't know how to solve problems without violence or crime, because to them, that seems normal. When I'd ask many of these 18-year-olds, hey, where do you see yourself? Well, I'll be in prison or dead. Their faces and their voices began to haunt me. I hadn't expected to care about these kids, but that's what I saw. They were kids behind this criminal, deviant, delinquent label. So I decided to do what my law professors taught me. Take a step back, be objective, and gather your facts. And here's what I found. In Santa Clara and San Mateo counties alone, we arrest over 13,000 kids a year. And when we incarcerate them, we have the highest incarceration rate of any country in the world. We spend over $283 a night per kid that we lock up. That's over $100,000 per kid per year. And it isn't working. 50 to 80% of these kids are going to cycle right back into our system. So I went back to these young men and I said, this is unacceptable. Is there something that a person like me could do to help this stop? And they said, yeah, there is. Here's what you need to do. Go teach kids about the law so we understand how serious the consequences are. Give us mentors, people who will care about us, and give us a chance to give back to our communities, because once we're seen as delinquents, that's it, we're written off. So they wrote my letters of recommendation to the George Soros Foundation, and I got the pilot funding to start FLY. In 2000, we incorporated, providing legal education, mentoring, and leadership trainings to kids in East San Jose. By 2004, we were reaching about 300 at-risk kids a year across the county of Santa Clara and over 600 at-risk middle school students. We had dreams to do a lot more, but we didn't have the resources to reach more kids. The resources we did have were pretty much all from the government, which we were concerned about. And time to think strategically, well, that was considered a luxury, something we didn't have. Enter SV2. They funded a development director position for us for 3 years to help remove some of those obstacles. And here's where we are as an organization today. We're solidly in 2 counties. We're reaching over 1,000 youth on probation a year, over 2,000 at-risk middle school students each year. We have a budget of over $2.6 million, and 30% of it is government funded, a big dip from the 85% pre-SV2 days. We have a strategic plan, a theory of change that's embedded in best practices research for adolescent brain development and youth development. We have a comprehensive database system so we can track our metrics and our outcomes. We know, for example, now that after all of our programs, on average, over 80% of our kids will say, I'm inspired to change my life. You gave me the skills I need to make it possible. I'm less likely to break the law. And in our most resource-intensive program, our leadership training program, we find that over 75% of our kids during the program year are not found delinquent of a new charge. Over 85% get engaged in school, and over 95% say, yeah, I do have hopes and dreams and goals for my future, and I can do it. And we do all of this for less than 1/10 the cost of incarceration. And along the way, we've been a part of critical juvenile detention reform. Our young people have helped advise the probation department how to change their systems and policies of incarceration to make them more effective. They've trained our public defenders on how to communicate with teenagers. And so nationally, we've received attention as we were recently inducted into the Ashoka Fellowship Program for leading social entrepreneurs in recognition that we have a unique, effective, and scalable solution to help address the national problem of juvenile crime in our country. Critical to this success has been SV2. And there are two reasons why. One, you invested in our infrastructure, which is unique and significant. Sadly, in the nonprofit community, strategic planning, leadership, research, and development is often labeled as overhead, a liability, something that other funders don't want to touch. They only want to fund your direct services. SV2 was willing to invest in our infrastructure, which allowed us to look at how can we be more effective and efficient and scale our work. Second, the funding came with the brain trust, all of you. Many partners in this room have been critical to our support, and I thank you. You've provided key strategic advice and guidance, ranging everywhere from founder dependency, to board development, to growth and expansion, to outcome measurements and metrics, to strategic planning, to legal advice, to staff development. The list goes on and on. And what I love about SV2 is for every partner there was a different way of engaging. It could be everything from a one-off meeting brainstorm session, to a time-limited project, to ongoing strategic support, to joining our board and chairing a committee, to being on speed dial. You better still pick up the phone. As a grantee, it is such a privilege to be an alumni because I know that I wouldn't be here today and Fly wouldn't be where we are without the success of SV2. But we have a lot of work left to do. There are many challenges ahead of us, but they seem a whole lot less daunting with the power of SV2 behind us. I hope each of us tonight will take a moment to renew or make a commitment to be of service. Many of us have been fortunate enough to be on the rebound of some of the challenges that we faced in this last decade. That's not the case for our federal, state, and local governments, and it's not the case for many people in poverty. Government cuts to nonprofit services are at an all-time high. They are decimating programs that are so necessary at a time when the needs of our clients are only rising. We have this incredible opportunity in the nonprofit sector. We get to be at the forefront to deal with the most interesting, challenging, complicated, invigorating, and important issues of our time. And I know that together, SV2 partners and grantees, we can thrive during this time. We can be an example for what effective philanthropic partnership can and should look like. And we will change our world. Thank you.